My dad's side of the family treated me like a nobody because my mom was just his mistress, while my half-brother was treated like the apple of their eyes because he was born from a legitimate marriage and will be the rightful heir of everything he owns. Now they're scrambling because I was the only one my dad left everything to and revealed the shocking reason behind it. His handwriting, scratchy, uneven. I wish I'd done better by you. I was proud of you even when I didn't say it. This world doesn't treat girls like you fairly, but I hope this helps change that. I hope you build something with it, something that's yours. I sat on the floor, numb. I wanted to cry for all the years he didn't show up, for all the times he let others speak for him, for all the birthdays he missed, but also for the small, quiet truth, that somewhere deep down, he had seen me. Maybe not enough, maybe too late, but still, he saw me. The next morning, I woke up to chaos. Apparently, word of the will had leaked, and a few nosy relatives had come forward with claims that I manipulated my father in his final days. Some even suggested I had tricked him into changing his will. I was suddenly a trending topic in some niche online forums. And through it all, Alex was silent, no public statement, no social media outburst, nothing, which only made me more suspicious. Mr. Bernstein called later that afternoon with an update. He told me the board had accepted my place as the majority shareholder but warned that Alex had privately been trying to stir dissent. Apparently, he had tried to convince some old allies that my father had made the change to punish him and that I would sell off everything out of spite. I asked Mr. Bernstein what my options were, and he said I had to lay low and let the noise pass, or take control publicly, firmly, and without hesitation. I knew what I had to do. That week, I scheduled a meeting with the company board, not to ask for permission but to announce that I was stepping into my role. I wasn't going to run day-to-day operations, I had no experience in corporate leadership, but I was going to hire the right people, keep things ethical, and ensure that every shady corner of my father's company was finally brought into the light. I also issued a formal press release, short, calm, direct. I stated that I had received the inheritance legally and without contest from my father's legal team, that I had no intention of selling off the company or the estate, and that I was committed to honoring the legacy of the man who, in the end, had chosen to do the right thing. Then I asked them to add one final line: let the past speak for itself. I'm here to build the future. It was the start of something bigger than me. Update 3. For a few weeks, things were eerily quiet. Too quiet. I had assumed Alex was lying low after his failed attempt to turn the board against me, but I should have known better. Alex didn't know how to lose. He'd always been the golden boy, praised for breathing, rewarded for mediocrity, and protected from every consequence. So it made perfect sense that his silence wasn't surrender, it was preparation. It started when I got a notice in the mail, a legal challenge to the will. I almost laughed when I read the first few lines. He was claiming my father had been mentally incompetent when he rewrote the will, that he had been under emotional duress and coerced by me in his vulnerable state. He went as far as saying, I used manipulative tactics stemming from a strained, resentful relationship. He painted himself as the devoted son, the one who had cared for our father, the one who had managed the estate, the company, the family, while I was nothing but a bitter, estranged daughter looking for a payday. It was ridiculous. But ridiculous things have a way of gaining traction when enough money and bitterness are involved. I immediately called Mr. Bernstein, who told me not to panic. Apparently, Alex had retained a flashy but deeply unserious lawyer who loved tabloid drama. Bernstein assured me that unless they could provide actual proof of manipulation or fraud, the will would stand. Dad's mental competency had been certified not once, but twice before the will was finalized. All the documents were airtight. Still, it made my stomach twist. I hadn't done anything wrong, but Alex had always been the kind of person who could cause a firestorm just by whining loud enough. And this time, he wasn't just whining, he was strategizing. And through it all, I stayed quiet. It wasn't because I didn't want to fight back, it was because Mr. Bernstein told me something I'll never forget. He said, let them shout into the wind. When people are desperate, they make noise. But noise doesn't win court cases. Proof does. And you have it, all of it. So I waited. I focused on stabilizing the company. I hired a respected executive to help manage operations. I started reviewing old records and board meeting transcripts. And somewhere in the middle of all that, I found something that made me freeze. A financial report from 3 years ago, buried under vague summaries and clever accounting, showing that Alex had authorized massive payouts from company funds into personal ventures that went belly up. One of them was a luxury condo development that never got approved. Another was a so-called tech startup that folded within months. But all of them had one thing in common: the money was gone. Unaccounted for. I handed the report to Mr. Bernstein, who reviewed it and nodded slowly. He said, this wasn't just bad business. If it had been hidden from the board, and it had, this could qualify as corporate fraud. Suddenly, the lawsuit made sense. Alex hadn't just wanted revenge or the family legacy, he wanted protection. He knew that the deeper I dug, the closer I'd get to find out how deep his mismanagement ran. Challenging the will wasn't about me, it was about distracting everyone from him. Our father had let it go. But I wouldn't. I had two choices: I could go nuclear and expose him publicly, or I could wait for court and let his lies unravel in front of a judge. I chose the second. The court date was set. I didn't tell anyone what I had found. Nobody knew the full extent of what I planned to reveal. I wanted Alex to feel safe, arrogant, prepared. And he did. He walked into that courtroom with a smirk, surrounded by handlers. He wore a charcoal gray suit and an expression that screamed entitlement. His lawyer opened with a dramatic statement about betrayal and family dishonor. They made me sound like a villain straight out of a soap opera. And then it was our turn. Mr. Bernstein was calm and razor sharp. He laid out the timeline, the mental competency reports, and the clean documentation of every step my father had taken. And then, just before closing, he introduced the financial report. The room got quiet. Alex's lawyer looked confused. Alex started fidgeting in his seat. Bernstein explained the payouts, the cover-ups, the lack of board approval. Then he dropped the final piece, a letter from my father to the board chair, dated 8 months before he died. In the letter, my father acknowledged discovering Alex's actions and expressed regret over ignoring certain warning signs. He wrote that he was preparing to restructure everything because some inheritances are no longer deserved. You could have heard a pin drop. The judge called for a recess. Alex stormed out, ignoring the small forum reporters he had called. Elaine was nowhere to be found. That night, everything flipped. I wasn't the villain.